Opening the paradox of success. This might sound crazy, but what if the way to achieve what you want isn't what you think? Think about it. Have you ever wanted something so badly, a job, a relationship, success in something you're working on, but the harder you tried, the further it seemed to slip away? Maybe you spent weeks preparing for an interview, rehearsing every answer, convincing yourself that this was your one big chance. But when the moment came, nerves took over, and suddenly you weren't yourself anymore. Maybe you went on a date, hoping to make the perfect impression, but in trying too hard, you overthought everything, second-guessed yourself, and the conversation just felt forced. Or maybe you've been grinding day in and day out, putting your heart and soul into a dream, building a business, chasing a promotion, working on something that matters to you. But no matter how much effort you put in, the breakthrough never seems to come. And at some point, you start asking yourself, why? Shouldn't caring deeply be the key to success? That's what we've always been told, right? We hear it everywhere. If you want it badly enough, it will happen. Hustle harder. Never stop chasing your dreams. But what if I told you that's exactly where most people go wrong? What if I told you that the secret isn't about wanting more, chasing harder, or gripping tighter? The real key is learning how to let go. And I don't mean giving up. I mean letting go of the fear, the overthinking, the obsession with the outcome. I wish I had learned this sooner. Because for so long, I believed that if I just worked harder, prepared more, and perfected everything, success would come. But instead, I found myself stuck, stressed, overwhelmed, and honestly, exhausted. Then I made one simple shift. I stopped trying to control everything. I let go of the need to have it all figured out. I focused on showing up, doing my best, and trusting the process. And suddenly, everything started to change. I became more confident. I started taking action without overanalyzing every detail. I stopped worrying about what people would think. And that's when the opportunities started coming my way. Because here's the truth, the more you chase, the more you push things away. But the moment you shift your energy from needing something to simply showing up, doing your best, and letting go of the pressure, that's when everything starts falling into place. That's when opportunities find you. That's when people are drawn to you. That's when success starts to feel effortless. It's the paradox of success. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how it works. So if you've ever felt stuck, if you've ever felt like no matter how hard you try, things just don't click, stay with me. Because once you understand this shift, you'll never look at success the same way again. Let's dive in. Personal story. The moment everything changed. I remember sitting across from a close friend at dinner one evening. She looked at me, frustration in her eyes, and said, "I feel stuck. I've been trying so hard to move forward. My career, my goals, even my relationships, but no matter what I do, nothing seems to change. I don't know what I'm doing wrong." I could see the exhaustion in her face. She was putting in the effort, making all the right moves, yet somehow she felt like she was running in place. And the reason this conversation hit me so hard was because I knew exactly what she was feeling. Because I had been there too. For years, I was the kind of person who overthought everything. Every decision, every opportunity, every next step, I analyzed it from every possible angle. I thought that if I just cared more, if I just tried harder, if I just made sure everything was perfect, then I would finally get the results I wanted. So I prepared obsessively. I worried about every detail. I told myself that I had to be polished, professional, and completely ready before I could take any real action. But instead of moving forward, I felt paralyzed. I was waiting for the right time, the right skills, the right confidence. And the more I waited, the more opportunities passed me by. Then one day, I realized something. I wasn't stuck because I wasn't good enough. I wasn't stuck because I wasn't working hard enough. I was stuck because I was holding on too tightly. I was trying so hard to control the outcome that I wasn't actually allowing myself to move forward. So, I decided to make a change. I stopped waiting for the perfect moment and just started. I launched my YouTube channel with nothing but my phone. No fancy setup, no polished production, just me sharing my thoughts. I stepped onto a stage to speak for the first time, even though I was terrified, even though my voice shook, even though I wasn't sure I belonged there. I started my first business without a perfect plan, without a professionally designed website, without knowing if it would work. And do you know what happened? I didn't fail. I learned. I grew. I gained confidence, not because I suddenly became more skilled or more qualified, but because I stopped obsessing over the outcome and started focusing on the process. And suddenly, things started clicking. The more I let go of the need for everything to be perfect, the more progress I made. The more I stopped worrying about what people thought, the more people started paying attention. The more I stopped chasing success, the more success seemed to find me. That was the moment I realized something powerful, caring too much about the outcome, was actually holding me back. And I see it happen all the time. We think that by wanting something badly enough, we can force it to happen. But in reality, it's when we loosen our grip, when we stop overthinking, when we trust that we are enough as we are right now, that's when everything starts to fall into place. And that's exactly what I told my friend that night. She looked at me, took a deep breath, and for the first time in a long time, I saw something shift in her expression. A sense of relief. A realization that maybe, just maybe, she didn't need to try harder. She just needed to let go. And maybe that's exactly what you need too. Big listen, the secret behind letting go. You know, for the longest time, I thought that the key to success was to care more, work harder, think more, plan more. It made sense, right? We're told over and over again that if we want something badly enough, if we push ourselves to the limit, we'll eventually get there. But here's the surprising truth. The more you obsess over an outcome, the harder it becomes to achieve it. Let me break it down for you. Think about a time when you really wanted something. Maybe it was a job you were desperate to get. You prepped endlessly for the interview. You rehearsed every answer, analyzed every possible question, and on the big day, you were so nervous that you couldn't perform at your best. You wanted it so badly that your anxiety took over, and instead of showing up as your confident, capable self, you ended up feeling awkward and tense. Or maybe you've been in a relationship where you tried to impress someone. You overthought every word, tried to be perfect, and instead of being yourself, you came across as needy or inauthentic. Why does this happen? Why does caring so much sometimes push what we want even further away? Here's the big lesson. Neediness repels. Detachment attracts. Let me explain. When you're overly attached to a specific outcome, you create a sense of desperation. It's like holding onto something so tightly that you crush it. You're operating from a place of lack of belief that if you don't get this job, this relationship, this opportunity, then you're not enough. And that energy? It's felt by others. Think about it. Would you hire someone who seems desperate or someone who exudes calm confidence? Would you be drawn to a person who's trying too hard to win your approval or someone who's relaxed, authentic, and at ease with themselves? The irony is, when you let go of the need to prove yourself, you become more powerful. The best athletes, the most successful entrepreneurs, and the happiest people in life share one thing in common. They care, but they're not attached. They give their best effort, but they don't cling to the result. They know that if it doesn't work out, it's not the end of the world. They'll get another chance, another opportunity. So how do you shift from neediness to detachment? It starts with trusting the process. Here's a simple way to think about it. Focus on what you can control: your actions, your attitude, your effort. Do the best you can in the moment. Show up fully. Give it everything you've got. But once you've done your part, let go of the result. If you're going for a job, prepare well, show up with confidence, but don't base your self-worth on whether you get it. If it's meant to be, it will be. If not, there's something better waiting for you. If you're pursuing a relationship, be yourself. Be present, but don't try to force it. If it's the right fit, it will happen naturally. If not, you'll find someone who truly appreciates you for who you are. This shift in mindset changes everything. When you're no longer desperate for a certain outcome, you move differently. You become calmer, more grounded, more authentic. And that's when the magic starts to happen. Opportunities come your way because people are drawn to your confidence. Success flows to you because you're no longer blocking it with fear and anxiety. Detachment isn't about being careless. It's about being free. Free from the fear of failure. Free from the pressure to be perfect. Free from the need for constant approval. And here's the beautiful part. When you let go, you'll often find that things start falling into place more easily than you ever imagined. So, the big lesson? Care deeply, but don't cling tightly. Show up fully, but don't be attached to the outcome. Trust that what's meant for you will find its way. And remember, you're a knight here, right now. Let go and let life surprise you. The paradox of success. Why chasing harder pushes success away. Let's talk about something that might completely shift the way you think about success. We've all been told that if we want something, whether it's a dream job, a thriving business, or even a meaningful relationship, the answer is simple. Work harder, want it more, push yourself beyond your limits. Sounds like good advice, right? But here's the crazy part. Sometimes, the harder you chase something, the further away it gets. Think about it. Have you ever walked into an interview desperately wanting the job? You prepped for hours, memorized every answer, told yourself over and over that you needed to nail this. But when the moment came, you got nervous. You overthought everything. And instead of showing up as your best self, you stumbled through it. Or maybe you've been in a situation where you really liked someone, you wanted the date to go well, so badly that you started acting differently. Maybe you tried to be extra charming, extra funny, extra interesting. But in doing that, you lost your natural confidence. Instead of being effortlessly yourself, you overcompensated, and the connection just didn't click. Or let's say you're working on building a business. You're grinding non-stop, chasing down every opportunity, constantly worrying about whether it's going to take off. And despite all your effort, it feels like success is just out of reach. Why does this happen? Here's the paradox. Neediness repels. Confidence attracts. When you're overly attached to a result, it creates a kind of desperate energy, and people can sense it. Employers sense it. Potential partners sense it. Even success itself seems to sense it. It's like trying to hold on to sand. The tighter you grip, the faster it slips through your fingers. But on the flip side, have you ever noticed how some people, the ones who seem like they don't need success, are the ones who actually get it? The ones who walk into an interview with a calm, relaxed confidence? They get the job. The ones who aren't afraid to be themselves in a relationship. They attract the right person. The ones who trust in their process and don't stress over every small failure, they end up building something incredible. Why? Because they're not chasing success. They're embodying it. And that's the shift. See, the world doesn't reward desperation. It rewards people who know their worth, whether or not they get the job, whether or not the relationship works out, whether or not every plan goes perfectly. The key is learning the law of detachment, which means you give your best effort, but you let go of the need to control the outcome. It doesn't mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean you stop working hard. It just means you show up fully, but without the fear of failing. Because when you stop chasing, you start moving differently. You become more present, you become more confident. And ironically, that's when the things you've been chasing start coming to you effortlessly. Athletes call this being in the zone. They train for years, but when they're in the game, they're not obsessing over winning or losing. They're fully present, fully engaged, letting their preparation take over. Entrepreneurs who build the biggest companies, they don't panic over every setback. They trust the process, adapt, and keep moving forward. And people who are truly magnetic, they're not constantly seeking validation. They already know they are enough. So here's the takeaway. Care deeply, but don't cling tightly. Show up fully, but don't obsess over the result. Trust that what's meant for you will find you as long as you keep taking the right steps. Because the moment you stop chasing, that's when success starts chasing you. The secret to breakthroughs, knowing you are enough. Let's talk about something that holds more people back than anything else. It's not a lack of talent. It's not a lack of resources. It's not even bad timing. It's the feeling of not being enough. Have you ever wanted to start something, a business, a new career, a creative project, but you held back because you thought, I'm not ready yet? Have you ever looked at other successful people and told yourself, they have something I don't? They're smarter, more talented, more experienced. Or maybe you've caught yourself thinking, once I take another course, once I get that certification, once I perfect my skills, then I'll be ready. And in the meantime, you wait, you prepare, you convince yourself that someday, when you're finally good enough, that's when you'll take action. But here's the truth. That perfect moment you're waiting for, it doesn't exist. And the idea that you're not enough yet, it's just a story that's been holding you back. I used to be stuck in that mindset. I was a perfectionist, constantly delaying things because I thought I needed to be more prepared, more polished, more ready. I told myself I couldn't start a YouTube channel because I didn't have the right equipment. I told myself I couldn't step onto a stage and speak because I wasn't experienced enough. I told myself I couldn't start a business because I didn't have everything figured out. But do you know what finally changed things for me? It wasn't when I felt ready. It was when I finally stopped waiting to feel ready. I picked up my phone and started recording, even though my setup wasn't perfect. I stood on that stage even though my voice was shaking. I launched my business even though I didn't have every answer. And what happened? The world didn't fall apart. No one cared that my videos weren't high budget. No one expected me to be a perfect speaker from day one. No one demanded that I have a flawless business plan before I got started. Because here's what I learned: success doesn't come from being fully prepared. It comes from trusting that you are already enough. And when you start moving from that place of confidence, when you stop waiting for permission, when you stopped doubting yourself, that's when things start to shift. People respond to confidence. Opportunities come to those who take action. And growth happens when you step outside your comfort zone, even before you think you're ready. So let me ask you this. What would you do today if you already believed you were enough? What would you start if you stopped waiting for permission? What would you create if you trusted that you have everything you need right now to begin? Because that's the truth. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need another reason to wait. You just need to take the first step. And when you do, you'll realize something powerful. You were enough all along. The law of detachment, how letting go changes everything. Let's talk about something that might completely change the way you approach success. Have you ever given your all to something, a job, a relationship, a dream, only to feel like the harder you try, the less it seems to work out? You put in the effort. You do everything right. But instead of feeling closer to what you want, you feel stuck, frustrated, exhausted. And in those moments, you start wondering, why does this keep happening? Why does success seem to come so easily to some people, while I'm struggling to make it work? Well, here's something that took me years to learn. Sometimes, the more you chase something, the more it runs away from you. Because when you're attached to an outcome, when you're desperate for things to go a certain way, you stop moving with confidence. You start making decisions based on fear. You begin overthinking, second-guessing, and stressing over every little thing. And ironically, that's what pushes success further away. But here's where everything changes. There's something called the law of detachment, and when you understand it, it frees you from that cycle. So what is it? The law of detachment says this: give your absolute best effort, but release your grip on the outcome. And I know that might sound counterintuitive. You might be thinking, wait, so I'm supposed to stop caring about my goals? No, it's not about being careless. It's about being free. Free from the fear of failure, free from the pressure of perfection, free from the need to control every single detail. Because here's the truth: when you let go of the outcome, you show up differently. Think about an athlete at the top of their game. They've trained for years, but when they step onto the field, they're not obsessing over whether they'll win or lose. They're in the moment. They trust their preparation. And that's what allows them to perform at their best. Think about the most confident people you know, the ones who walk into a room and instantly command respect. They're not begging for approval. They're not worried about what people think. They show up as themselves, fully present, without attachment to how others might react. And what happens? People gravitate toward them. Opportunities flow their way. Success seems to come effortlessly. Because when you stop trying to force things, you move with power. So how do you apply this in your own life? Let's say you're going for a job interview. Instead of walking in with the mindset of I need this job, Shift to, I would love this opportunity, but either way, I'll be okay. That energy changes everything. Instead of nervousness, you bring confidence. Instead of fear, you bring presence. And ironically, that's what makes you more likely to get hired or take relationships. The more you chase someone, the more likely they are to pull away. But when you show up as your best self, without desperation, that's when the right people naturally gravitate toward you. It works in business, in creativity, in every area of life. Do the work. Put in the effort. Give it everything you've got. But when you've done all you can, let go. Because when you detach from the need for a specific outcome, you don't just feel lighter, you become more powerful than ever. And that's when success starts chasing you. Overcoming the fear of judgment, how to stop caring what others think. Let's be honest, how many times have you held yourself back because you were afraid of what other people might think? You wanted to speak up, but you worried people would judge you. You had an idea, but you didn't act on it because you thought, what if they don't like it? What if I fail? What if I look stupid? So instead of taking that step forward, you stayed quiet. You stayed small. You let fear of judgment keep you stuck. And you're not alone. Because the truth is, every single person deals with this fear at some point. We're wired to want approval. From childhood, we've been taught to fit in, to be liked, to avoid standing out too much. But here's where it becomes a problem. When you let the fear of judgment control your decisions, you stop living for yourself. You start making choices, not based on why you want, but on what will keep you safe from criticism. And that's the fastest way to a life filled with regret. So how do you break free? Here's something that completely changed my perspective. The people who truly matter won't judge you. And the ones who judge you, they don't really matter. Think about it. Your real friends, the people who care about you, won't laugh at you for trying something new. They won't criticize you for stepping outside your comfort zone. If anything, they'll support you. And the people who judge you, the ones who sit on the sidelines, pointing fingers, waiting for you to fail, they're not living your life. Their opinions don't pay your bills. Their opinions don't shape your future. So why waste a single moment worrying about them? Here's another way to look at it. No matter what you do, someone, somewhere, is going to have something to say. If you play it safe, they'll say you're boring. If you take risks, they'll say you're reckless. If you succeed, they'll say you got lucky. If you fail, they'll say they saw it coming. You can't win by trying to please everyone. So instead of worrying about people who don't support you, focus on the ones who do. And most importantly, focus on yourself. Because at the end of the day, you're the one who has to live with your choices, not them. So let me ask you this. Are you going to let the fear of judgment keep you from building the life you actually want? Are you going to let a few opinions stop you from chasing your dreams, speaking your truth, stepping into your potential? Or are you going to decide right now that you're done living for other people's approval? Because here's the reality. The moment you stop caring about the wrong things, you become unstoppable. So go after what you want. Speak your mind. Show up fully as yourself. And let the people who judge watch from the sidelines, while you live a life they're too afraid to go after. Closing, trust, let go, and move forward. Wherever you are in life right now, if you've given your best, trust that it's enough. If you've done everything you can, release the need to control the outcome. If you've poured your heart into something, know that your effort already counts as a victory. Because real success isn't just about what you achieve. It's about having the courage to take action, even when the path ahead isn't clear. So take a deep breath. Let go of the fear. Move forward with confidence. When you stop overthinking, when you stop seeking perfection, when you finally allow yourself to be present in the moment, that's when life starts working in your favor. I'm Mind Observer, and if this message spoke to you, I invite you to watch my next video where I share a powerful idea that transformed how I work, live, and think. I'll see you there.